UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's flagship Rwanda bill is set to become law after 5 months. The bill designates Rwanda as a safe country and is a key part of the government's plans to send some asylum seekers there. Migrant advocates, however, have vowed to continue the fight against it. The bill has been fiercely criticised by opposition parties, but after several debates, the Lords dropped their objections to it late on Monday. The UK PM, Sunak, has said that flights to Rwanda will take off within 10 to 12 weeks. But departures could still be held up in the courts or delays in securing the planes asylum seekers would travel on. The debate in Britain comes as countries throughout Western Europe and North America look for ways of slowing the rising number of migrants. The number of migrants arriving in Britain on small boats soared to over 45,000 in 2022, from just 299 4 years earlier. Last year, small boat arrivals dropped to nearly 29,000 after a government crackdown. Small boat crossings are a potential political issue in Britain, where they're seen as evidence of the government's failure to control immigration. Sunak has staked his political future on these deportation flights, making a pledge to stop the boats a key part of his pitch to voters. Opinion polls, however, show that his Conservative Party trails far behind the Labour Party ahead of a general election widely expected later this year. Next week's local elections are seen as a barometer for how the parties will fare in a general election. Meanwhile, the UN has now urged Britain to reconsider plans to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda, warning it threatened the rule of law and set a, quote, perilous precedent globally. Well, for more on this, we're joined by John Bevere, joining us on the broadcast. John, the bill has finally got through after some ping-pong between the Commons and the Lords last night. Give us your assessment on, firstly, how significant it is, but also when we may expect to see a potential first flight to Rwanda.
Well, I think this is hugely significant. This is seen as a big win for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. As you said, we've had this political ping-pong between the House of Lords and the House of Commons. And finally, the House of Lords, the upper chamber here in the UK, they gave way to the House of Commons, the democratically elected lower chamber. Several months of back and forth of trying to have the bill amended finally all came to an end last night. So I think this is a big political win for the Prime Minister and having this done. And what this policy allows is the mass deportation of migrants to become a lot easier. Previously, everything was done on a case-by-case basis, and if someone was decided that they didn't have the right to asylum, then they were individually deported. Of course, what this means is that lots of people can be deported in one go. So I think that is very important. And certainly the Prime Minister is saying that this is going to put people off. And that really is the benchmark to all of this, because the opposition Labour Party have called this an expensive gimmick. So if what they are saying is true, then the UK is spending a lot of money for no real reason, only deporting a few thousand people. But what the Conservatives, what the Prime Minister is saying is that this policy being in place means it will stop people setting off to try and get to Britain in the first place. So that is what he is pinning his hopes on. In terms of when these flights are going to take off, well, the Prime Minister has admitted that it is later than he wanted. He was aiming for spring. He's now saying that's more likely to be June or July, 10 to 12 weeks from now. So there is still some legal paperwork to be done before this can happen. There has to be a waiting period between when the government announced that a migrant is going to be sent to Rwanda. They then have some time before they actually get on the plane. We are expecting more legal challenges. Certainly we've heard human rights groups challenging this, saying that the policy isn't going to work, saying that it breaches international law. But the ruling Conservative Party are doubling down and saying that absolutely they back this policy. Nothing will stop them, they say, from getting these planes to Rwanda off the ground. The Prime Minister calling it a landmark bill, who says it's not just a step forward, but a fundamental change in the global equation on migration. So certainly the Prime Minister very optimistic for the future of this, but there are a lot of questions, not notably from the human rights groups who say that this breaches international law.
Certainly a significant move forward on this topic. John Bevere joining us live there. Many thanks for your insight.